I decided we need to go to a different location, and that location was Santa Úrsula. And Santa Úrsula, what I didn't knew at that time, has some of the steepest hills on the whole island. Man, was I unprepared for that. When I was driving there, I started realizing streets get steeper and steeper and steeper. And when I was almost at my hotel, something happened and I got so scared, man. I got so scared. So I was driving up that hill, very narrow streets, right? So narrow that a car that was facing towards you couldn't really pass by because streets were too narrow. That combined with one of the heaviest inclines I've ever seen, probably one of the sketchiest situations I've ever seen. I was googling how steep that incline was afterwards because I just wanted to know, and Google said something like 27 degrees of elevation, and that was just insane. So I was driving up there, went pretty okay. Hyundai i10, not the strongest car, but still very, very good car actually. Thinking about it now, very good car. I had a different rental afterwards. I don't know if the second rental was better, despite being better on paper. More on that later. Anyways, Hyundai i10 going up that hill, man, like a madman. So second gear, I was driving up. It was kind of happening, but I saw we were losing speed, man. We were losing speed. Second gear, pedal to the metal, man. Clutch fully disengaged. We were losing speed, man, and I thought, this is sketchy. We only have one gear left, and that is the first one. And if this one fails us and we are losing speed and the car cannot go up, we will roll down that hill and probably crash that car. That was what was on my mind. So I just thought, man, I don't even want to try, but we need to, because we are losing speed, man, and the car is just getting slower and slower. So clutch in, immediate car rolling backwards, first one in, finessing the clutch, get it out. Okay, first one is in, we roll in again. Okay, rolling, rolling, rolling. It's happening, not losing speed, very, very slow, but not losing speed. So I drove, and then another slant and more inclined. And I thought, man, we are screwed. And then pedal to the metal, right? RPMs probably in the 3000s, and the car was just holding on for its life, man, driving up that hill. And I was driving, and as I said, pedal to the metal, man. That car was kind of on its edge maybe, and wheel slip. We had wheel slip, car turning sideways while me on the gas, couldn't let loose of the gas because damn downhill. So I was just stomping on it, trying to drift that car up that hill. So that car was slipping. I almost crashed the car. I was so scared, and I knew, okay, I have 3 days on that second stay, and then we kind of can relocate to a environment that might be not as sketchy as this one up in Santa Úrsula, right? But I have to say, on the second day, I kind of warmed up to it. And that is also what the owner told me, because when I arrived there, I told the owner, man, this is some crazy hills. I almost crashed the car. And he said, yeah, that's kind of like, you will get used to it, he said. And I was like, I don't know about that, man. I really doubt it, to be honest. But he was right. Second day, I was kind of getting the feel for it, where to drive the car on these streets, also how to watch the streets for them not being dirty with sand so that you don't get the wheel slip, because I knew the car was capable of driving up there. Just if the street condition is not ideal, we could run into problems. So I managed to find different streets on the second day, still as steep, but cleaner, so that was a good thing. So the second Airbnb up in Santa Úrsula was absolutely amazing. It was one of these original Spanish buildings, I would say. It had a beautiful, beautiful wooden ceiling, kind of like a cherry wood color. It was like a very, very dark red tone, super beautiful, very well maintained, looked freshly painted almost. And that house had a straw roof, and that straw roof didn't leak, right? So that was quite the place to be in. Very scenic, very original, very Mediterranean island type of vibes. And That was such a good place. When we had the thunderstorm and we also had this heavy fog, you could have a split view of the street where there was like a very clear, I would say 1 to 1.5 meters in high view above the street. And then you would have the heaviest, densest fog ever. So you could basically, if you would duck down, you could walk in a very clear view, but if you would stand up, you would walk in the fog. It was one of the craziest scenarios I've ever seen. So that alone was worth the experience up there. That in combination with the very, very nice Airbnb and also the experience of driving that Hyundai i10 up that crazy hill in Santa Úrsula was quite the vibe. And as things always pan out, I of course forgot my sunnies. So my next goal was to go from Santa Úrsula anywhere to find a place where I could buy sunnies. That turned out to be not as easy as I thought it would be because there weren't any stores that would carry them. I had to drive to Anassa, and in Anassa I found the coolest shopping center. It was crazy, it was so big. I was so glad to be there, and at this point I knew, okay, I will find sunnies there and then our adventure can continue. And it did continue. So I managed to buy the sunnies. It was like an Adidas store, I think. Managed to buy these sunnies. Very good sunglasses, man. Very good sunglasses. Polarized, perfect for that location. So I backed these sunnies in and made my way up to Santa Cruz de Tenerife. And in Santa Cruz, I found probably the nicest beach I've ever seen on that island. And that was Playa de la Teresitas. And Playa de la Teresitas was, man, I cannot even put it into words. That place was the place I was searching for. That place had the nicest sand. It was like a caved-in type of location. It is a man-made beach, so it's not a natural beach, but that is kind of a good thing there because they managed to cave it in and build walls around it, so you don't have that heavy current, and it's also not as windy there. So you have that really nice calm water, sometimes even turkeys on some days, like tropical vibes, full on tropical vibes, or like maybe like Thailand at some places and on some days. And it was just like a full on vibe. You had beautiful people there, big hospitality, nice shops, nice coastline, coolest restaurants. I got to eat an octopus there, and that octopus was absolutely bonkers good. Bonkers good. I will insert some pictures. Looked like a 5-star restaurant, to be honest. It was very nice, and it was very local too. I got to meet some people in there, talk to people. Had a great time. Playa de las Teresitas, man, highly recommend it. That turned out to be one of my favorite places over in Tenerife, and it was the place I decided to spend most of the time. I needed to get an Airbnb next because I wanted to stay at Playa de las Teresitas, and there was one over there that kind of fit my needs and also had a washing machine, and that washing machine was essential for me because at this point in time I really needed to wash my stuff, and there was no other place around where I could wash it, at least not to my awareness. So I thought this is the perfect Airbnb for me. Has a washing machine right by Playa de las Teresitas, where I wanted to be anyways. I tried to book that one, but unfortunately that one was booked out. So I thought, okay, what can we do now? I kind of don't want to leave this location. So I decided to go camping. Yeah, man, camping, Hyundai i10, different vibes. Different vibes. Yeah, I didn't bring a tent or anything, and I also didn't want to buy a tent because I knew I couldn't bring it back because my baggage was already maxed out. So I kind of contemplated if I should just camp in the Hyundai i10. You cannot really fold down the rear seats, so that's interesting. But I was at Playa de las Teresitas, and there was all these other people just camping there. And that in combination with the beautiful location, the beautiful ocean, the sandy beach, the bars, Not touristy bars though, very nice bars, local restaurants and everything else made it for like a very comfortable place. I was like, okay, if I need to camp somewhere over here, or better said, if I want to camp somewhere over here, it is going to be right here. And this place is so nice, I would maybe even sleep at the beach. And yeah, I decided to camp there, man. I drove up at night with the Hyundai i10, parked it right at the parking lot and spent the night there. And it was great, man. But midnight, something very strange happened and they started cleaning that beach. I think this was just a very strange coincidence. It was just being at the wrong place at the wrong time maybe. But it wasn't that bad, to be honest. It just kicked me out of bed because they had like loud machines that kind of had like a siren and a buzzer going to warn people around it so they don't get overrun by it. And they cleaned up the beach. They kind of, I don't know what they did, to be honest, probably cleaned the sand. And yeah, I just relocated the car at this point. I just drove a few meters down the parking lot and relocated that car into a even more caved in situation where you also had different camper vans, and I just parked in between them, so I kind of was caved in, and the night was going on again and I was back at my camping journey. And it was a very good night, to be honest. Camping wasn't the most comfortable. I woke up quite a few times because, as I said, you cannot fold down the seat, so I kind of had to sit in the car and sleep. But it was just one night, so it was happening anyways. So I did that, woke up the next day, craziest sunrise ever, craziest sunrise. And I was kissed by the sun immediately. So I was just like, man, maybe we just do an early bird today. I got out of the car, went to the beach and just made it into the water and did my early bird session at the beach. So good, man, so good. Playa de las Teresitas, highly recommended. One of the most beautiful beachy places I've been to in Tenerife. So yeah, I then decided on the parking lot that I should just book my next stay and also maybe try to book a flight to a different island. So that's what I did at the parking lot in Playa de las Teresitas. Put up my hotspot and went to town with my computer and booked a different stay and also a flight to Gran Canaria. There's no adventure without any ups and downs, right? It just doesn't happen, man. Especially if you don't plan for it, there's always something that could go wrong. And if you have too many things that go wrong, then you are kind of in a bit of trouble. So you always try to avoid that, right? So I was camping there and one of my bags got taken, man. It just got taken. It was so weird. I don't even know how it happened, to be honest, because this was a place where I felt the highest amount of safety. You just felt so safe to be there. There were all these surfers, there were all these camping people, there were all these families, there were all these super nice people, the beautiful beach, the nice bars, the hospitality was off the charts. It just seemed like such a safe place to be in. But maybe that is what makes it such a good location to steal stuff. Just saying. right? So the thing is, everyone was basically having their bags out. There was people right by the ocean. Everyone was just having their bags out. Like right by the ocean, people were on the beach having their stuff out. The camping people had piles of stuff next to their cars. Nobody's took it, at least not to my knowledge. So I thought, yeah, I can do it as well, man. I can just leave my stuff out there. It's not a big deal. And I will just say that I'm lucky that it was nothing that was super valuable, but I also was very bummed out about it because it kind of changed the perception of Playa de las Teresitas for a moment, but just for a moment. Right now, I'm at peace with it. More on that in a second. Anyways, I saw all these people putting their luggage out next to their cars, having their things out. Nothing got stolen. It seemed so safe there. So I just did the same. I had this soaked up clothing that really needed to be washed because I had it on the beach with me. I had my swimming stuff piled up on there and everything beneath it got wet. It was basically like a big bag of socks and underwear and towel. And no, the towel, I actually took the towel out luckily, and also the swimming stuff. Anyways, it was a big bag of underwear and socks that was kind of wet and needed to be washed. So because it was wet, I decided that needs to leave the car because there would just not be a vibe having that in there. So I put it next to the car and just left it there because, as I told you, everybody else was doing it as well. So I thought, what can go wrong here? And somebody took it, man. It was just gone. It was just gone. I have no idea what happened, but as I said, probably because it feels like such a safe location to be in, that makes it for such a good location to steal stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, as I said, I'm now kind of at peace with it because I thought about it for the whole day. That was half of my baggage though. So it was kind of a big problem for me because I had only 2 or 3 days left in Tenerife before boarding to Gran Canaria. So it was kind of a problem to have just half of my clothing from now on, basically. So that was not a vibe. But I also was grateful that there wasn't anything too valuable in there. So that was a good thing too. And then I thought about it and I thought, who would take that bag? Like, there was so much more valuable things to take on that beach. Why would you take a bag full of underwear and socks? And I had 2 conclusions. First one was the person wasn't even looking into that bag and just grabbed it and run. In that case, they are in for a surprise. And the second option was somebody was looking in it and took it because they needed it. And thinking about that kind of made me sad for a second, because I thought, man, if you are so desperate that you need to steal a bag full of underwear that was already used, maybe you really need that. Maybe you really need that underwear. So I then came to the conclusion, the person that took this bag probably needs it way more than me. And at this moment in time, I made peace with the whole thing. So I'm kind of okay. Still hoping that none of my bags will get taken in the future.